got tormented, and it was awful, to the point where when I was in second grade, I would go to school, I would have lunch, and then I would pretend that I was sick so that I could go home, because I was so scared of going out to recess that I had to think of any reason not to go. And I did this for weeks. And the reason was because that's where I was getting bullied, was at recess. It was unsupervised, and that's where the worst of it was. And I said, I can't. And so I would fake sick so I could come home from school, because I couldn't cope with it. All right. I would never wish that experience on anyone. I feel like being afraid is one of the worst feelings that you could feel. And I just, we have to do what we can to negate that. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through, I just have a handful of slides here that are going to talk about it, about what bullying is, what bullying is not. And I'm also going to be talking about what we can do to help prevent it, help our little ones cope when they're having issues with this, and also what to do if we feel like maybe our students are a cause of the problem. Because I know our angels would never do something like that, but the bullying is coming from somewhere, right? This is happening, and it's happening a lot. And as technology evolves, it's happening in new spaces and new places. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. Okay, so what bullying is a repeated intentional harm characterized by a power imbalance. Okay, this is one student or a group of students that are trying to exert their power on somebody else. I'm going to feel big. I want you to feel small. Okay, I want to let you know that I am better than you. So I'm going to do X, Y, Z to let you know that this is me. I am better than you. I'm going to make you feel this big. Okay. The one word that I want you to pay attention to is repeated. Okay. I have students, especially in elementary, that they'll come up, they'll say, Mr. Went, I'm being bullied. And I'll say, okay, tell me more about that. And they'll say, well, they looked at me funny today at lunch. And I said, did this only happen the one time? And they'll say, yeah. I said, okay, well, that's not bullying. Bullying is something that happens a single time. Things can be upsetting, but bullying is a repeated thing. Like you're feeling targeted, and it's every day, or it's every few days, and it's happening over and over, and you can't feel like you can escape it. Miss Gaffer, can I have you help me with this slide?
Yes.
I'm gonna stand over here because I feel like I'm 100 miles away from everybody. Can you just hit buttons for me when I tell you to go forward? Hi, internet. We're gonna move here because I feel like I'm so far away. We're gonna move over here. Make sure I'm still somewhat in view of everybody. Okay. So I'll have the signs over there, but I'll talk to you guys. I'm so far away. Okay, go ahead and share. Share will be over. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So those four main forms of bullying that I want to talk to you about, and one of those is around now. It wasn't around 30 years ago when I was in school. Okay. The four forms: verbal, which is name calling. You're stupid. You're worthless. You're whatever. X, Y, Z. Social and relational. That's exclusion. That's spreading rumors. Happens a lot. That happens a lot. Physical, hitting, stealing, damaging property. That's not one that we see as much. Where we do see that more is in elementary more than with our older kids. Cyberbullying, online harassment. That's the big one. That's where most of this stuff is happening now. And I really feel for our kids, because when I was in second grade and I was getting bullied, when the school day ended, I at least got to go home and forget about it. Right? It was over for that day. Now, it's only just beginning when school ends, right? Because there's social media, there's these group chats, there's pictures being spread, and it's relentless. And these kids feel like they can't escape it, and it's so consuming to them that they have a hard time functioning, because it is just a constant state of stress. Being a kid is hard enough, man. School is tough. We're up early. I got my teachers yelling at me to be on class on time. I got tests to study for. And all of a sudden now I have this group of people that are spreading pictures of me online when I go home, right? It's awful. The social, relational, and the cyberbullying a lot of times go hand in hand. We have run into a lot of issues where these group chats get out of control. Okay, they get out of control because it's hard to police. It's things out of school, so it's not something that the school can really deal with. And it really comes down to the parents, being diligent about how much technology use their kids are having, and B, teaching their kids what is appropriate social interactions and what is not. I always tell the kids at school, because they like to say, "Oh, we were just joking." Well, we were just joking, and my response is, if everybody's not laughing, it's not joking, right? If everyone's laughing except for this guy, it's not a joke anymore, right? It's bullying. You're targeting someone. They're not laughing. They're not having a good time. It's no longer a joke. It's involving someone else. Okay, so signs that this may be happening to your kid. And again, I know growing up, adolescence is hard. This isn't, the full list of things that can happen. And sometimes kids may experience these and not be getting bullied. But these are things to look out for. Okay, unexplained injuries or loss of items. They come home and man, I bought you 5 pairs of gloves this winter. What is going on? Reluctance, refusal to go to school. That was mine, right? I was trying to get out of school. I didn't like it. I don't want to get. I have a lot of belly aches on Tuesdays. All of a sudden, those kind of things. Changes in mood. They're feeling anxious. You see them withdrawing. No, I don't want to go out with my friends. No, I don't want to go to family dinner at grandma's. Just like they're so consumed with this that they just don't feel like eating anything. And finally, changes in sleeping, eating habits. You realize they're not eating as much as they usually would. They're restless. They're staying up. Yeah, you tell them, man.
Yeah, he knows about it.
They're staying up too late. They're not able to sleep. These are all kind of warning signs that it may be time to have a conversation and just check in and see what's going on. Again, doesn't necessarily mean that something is, but it doesn't hurt to find out. Okay. All right. This is the one that no one likes to talk about. This is signs that maybe your child is acting in the way that they should. Maybe they are being the bully. Okay. Increased aggression or demanding behavior. Blaming others, lack of empathy, not feeling sorry, not taking accountability for their actions. Again, I hear a lot of, we were just joking. We were just playing around. Unexplained new items, money, right? All of a sudden your kid has 5 new pairs of gloves. We may start to ask some questions there. Frequent disciplinary issues. A lot of times these things kind of ramp up. Okay, we start with something small, and as we start to feel that power and we start to get confident, the behaviors will start to increase. Okay, so that's something to pay attention to. Also, frequent disciplinary issues, especially if they seem like they're coming out of nowhere. Especially if your child has no history of this, and all of a sudden, man, I got called by the lady 3 times this week. What is something's got to be going on? Okay, so what is our role? What can we do? The best thing that we can do is establish a culture with our family that allows us to communicate. Okay, my dad, we didn't have that. I didn't feel confident and comfortable reaching out and saying, "Hey, man, school sucks. I'm getting picked on. I don't feel good about school." I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the relationship at home with my family where I felt safe doing that. Okay, that is your primary job: giving your child and making them feel like they have the opportunity where they feel safe coming to you. And that can be hard, especially if you have teenagers, right? Our little kids will tell us anything. I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I know everything that happens in every class. I know who got in trouble. I know who lost a tooth. I know whose birthday it is. But when we have older kids, we have middle school and high schoolers, it can be like trying to get water from a stone to get them to tell us anything. They're growing up. They want to be independent. They don't feel like they need us as much as they really do. Okay. And so there are some tools that you can use. There are some ways that you can communicate with them just to develop that communication with your child. Create a safe, calm space for disclosure. Ask open-ended questions like, "What's the toughest thing about school?" One of the worst questions and a habit that I've had to break myself for my kids is when my kid gets in the car at the end of the day, what do we all say? "How was school today?" And what do they always say? "It's fine. All right, it's fine." Right? They could have had the zoo come to school. They could have held an alligator for the first time. They could have uh, Rory, the Lions mascot, could have come to school, and they're just gonna go, "You're fine. That's fine. Nothing special." Okay. When we ask questions to our students, we want to try to ask a question that doesn't have a yes, no, or a fine answer. Well, my kid is young, so this question is something that I can say with him, maybe not with older kids, but I'll say, "Okay, what is the hardest you laughed today at school? What was the funniest thing that happened at school today?" Right? What was the hardest thing about school today? What was the best lunch you had this week? Right? You're just those questions force something besides yes or no. Right? We're trying to get any kind of communication because if you just ask how was school and it was fine, they're not going to tell you that they got their lunch money stolen. They're not going to tell you that there's a group chat that's bullying them because it's fine. I just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Okay. So we really want to work on finding questions that we can ask that are open-ended, that get those communications going. And again, if you ask, "Man, what was the toughest thing about school this week?" You may get some clues as to really what's going on. They may not tell you the whole story, but you may start getting bits and pieces. Okay. And it develops that communication more than okay. Another thing we can do is to prevent this is we model kindness. Show respect in your own interactions. I can't tell you. There you go. That's you. That's all you. That's all you. Um, I can't tell you how many parents I have they'll say, "Yeah, I have a good relationship with my student, and they tell me everything." But when they tell them something that they don't like to hear, then they're getting in their face and they're yelling at them and they're getting after them in a way that's not respectful. But that doesn't help. And I know we want what's best for our kids, and I know we want everything to go well for them, and we don't want them to make mistakes on this. But we have to accept that it's going to happen, and we have to be able to listen without judging and without coming down so hard on them. I'm in cleanup high school. I talk to kids about the mistakes they make all the time. I tell them that school is an okay place to make mistakes. It's an okay place to make mistakes. But if we don't learn from them, then they are for nothing, right? That's what experience is. It's learning from your mistakes. It's okay to make some mistakes, but we got to figure out how to move past it and get better. That's what it's all about. It really is. Teach empathy. We discuss the impact of our actions. A lot of times these kids don't understand what making fun of this kid's haircut does to them. I have kids, not this year, last year, who had a hood up every single day. And I asked them what was up, and they said, "I just don't like my haircut. I don't like my haircut." So they're wearing a hood till their hair grows back. Now, why did that happen? I'm guessing somebody said something at some point and they got self-conscious. Okay. It doesn't take much for a kid to get into their own head, right? We need to teach empathy. We need to teach kids that, man, your words have so much of an impact. All of your words. And that goes the other way too, man. Tell the kid, "Hey man, I love your haircut today." You have no idea the impact that could make on that kid. You really it's so have those conversations with your kids. It's important. Everyone likes getting a compliment. Everybody. Monitor digital life, know the passwords, friends list, screen limits. This one's hard, right? We got those phones in our pockets all the time. We got a computer in our bedrooms. We got access to the whole world. But there's a lot of scary stuff out there, and there's a lot of things happening that parents don't know about. I'm not saying to go snooping through your kid's phone every night because I don't think that that's healthy necessarily. But there has to be a relationship where you feel, you're comfortable talking about your kid about what they're doing online, and you're at least aware of who they're talking to on their phone and what websites that they're visiting, and like you can't just stick your head in the ground and pretend that none of this is happening, because it is, and it's happening for everyone. The internet and social media is almost inescapable at this point, and there are so many influences out there that are moving our children in one way or another, right? I need you to be the influence. You need you to be the main influence in your kid's life, not some Instagram video game guy, you know? So just be aware, and I'm not saying take away all their stuff and don't let them on it, but also don't just turn your back to it and let, oh, whatever happens, happen, because what could happen is it could be a lot of really bad things. Okay, so your kid, okay, you broke through that barrier. Your kid comes home and says, Mama, he did something to me. And this has been happening all week. He's been, I don't know, untying my shoes every single day and laughing at me about it. And now the whole class is laughing at me about it. And I don't want to go to school tomorrow. All right. First off, good on you for allowing your kid to talk to you about that. Give yourself a pat on the back for that, because that's hard. That's a hard conversation for a kid to have. Okay. Now what do? Okay. So we stay calm and we believe what they have to say. Yeah, man, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That was probably really hard to have your classmates laughing at you for that. Okay. We document. We try to get the information we can have. It's really hard for me when I get a phone call from a parent that says, Mr. Went, someone's bullying my kid. I don't know who. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where it's happening. I don't know when. But take care of it. Okay. If you can find out who and what and when and who was around, right? I love to talk to who was around, witnesses. If you can figure that out, then me and Ms. Knafford can get to the bottom of the problem immediately. We don't have to spend 2 hours figuring out all the details. Okay? And then you contact us, right? You give us a call, you talk to the main office. A lot of times the main office they'll take your message, they'll send me an email, and then I can get back to you. Okay. I have I have a school email that people can call. I have a work cell phone that people can call, same with Ms. Knafford. Like, reach out to us. We want to help. We want to know about this. We want to take care of your kids. We really do. But you got to let us know, okay? And empower your kids to tell us also. There's so many situations where a kid will finally come to me and say that XYZ happened. And they'll say, yeah, this has been happening for 4 months now. Well, dang, man, that's 4 months is a long time to be feeling this way. I wish you would have come forward, after the first couple times this happened, because you didn't need to go through this for so long, right? It's okay to talk about it. A lot of the kids are worried about being a snitch. That's what they say. I don't want to be a snitch.
They will call him a snitch here.
Yeah.
I have a boy. So they would call him a snitch. This happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
So when the school knew about it, they talked with the other guy and the boy, and then were calling my son a snitch. You are a snitch. You are a snitch. And then after that, whenever something happened, Daddy would come and say, "This happened, but please don't say anything to the school. Please don't call Mr. Abdullah. Please, that."
Yes.
And after, if I call the school again, I noticed that he will never say anything more.
Yeah.
After that.
It's hard. It's hard, and that's why we need to. That's where we need to make sure that we're talking to our own kids, right? If every parent was able to have the conversation with their child about empathy and about being kind, then those things wouldn't happen. That's why it's so important. One of the hardest things about being a parent and being a dean is that we can only control our little ones, right? Like if I could pull the strings of everybody in here, it'd be beautiful. But I can't. We can control what we can control, and you can only encourage your son to do the right thing and allow help and allow things to play out in the right way. But I do know that happens where students, they'll get called a snitch. So, but when that happened for me, and I addressed that with those students too. Okay. I might as well stop because this is going to get loud here. If you guys want to take this a little intermission here, go fill up your coffee, grab 2 or 3 or 6 more donuts. Let's start back up at.
My bigger plate.
That's why you just get multiple plates. We'll just start back at total 5. company who focuses solely on bullying. That's what this is, a whole organization based on bullying. There's statistics where 80% of bullying stops when somebody intervenes. Our takes the three keys. So it was delegate, distract, and direct. So we get help, we talk to a teacher, we talk to a team, we distract, so we interrupt what's going on. And then we direct if it's safe, saying, hey, I don't like what I'm not good with what you're doing, right? That one's more rare, right? That takes a pretty strong personality to do that. But it does help if the student wants to do that, it does help. Yes, Andy.
Well, she was stating a point that, like, when the students follow him and they start telling him you're a snitch, and that push the other person, like, to stop telling the parents, stop telling the school
Yeah.
what's happening with him.
Yeah. So I have suspended students for that, right? So students getting whatever. Tell the administration about a situation. So the person upset because they got in trouble. Just all of a sudden they continue coming after you're a snitch. Why are you talking about me? Why are you telling other people? And all this stuff. And I've had to send kids home. I know it's so sad, man. I know. I'm upset about it too. I've had to send kids home for that same reason because they're being relentless. Yeah, right there. They're being relentless. They're not letting this go. They can't accept that they made a mistake, and they can't accept that they made a mistake, and they continue to harp on it. So in that situation, I need your kid to come talk to me immediately. I need them to because they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong, and it's not okay that they're feeling this way. In regards back to cyberbullying, which again is probably the largest version of bullying. One thing that's extremely helpful is if your kid can get a screenshot of what's going on, right? If they're getting bullied, if there's a group chat and pictures or whatever's happening, if they can get a screenshot of that, then there's no denying what is being said. I love a good screenshot when it comes to this stuff because all the evidence, everything that I said is right there, and there's nothing you can say to refute it. Okay, so we screenshot it. We block the sender. So if we're in this group chat, we can leave it. If it's one person, we can block that person. Right, we screenshot. We block that person so that it'll continue, and then we can come to the school. And you can also report to the platform. So if this is happening, a lot of times it's happening on Snapchat. Okay, you can report that person to Snapchat and get their account removed. Okay, that's another thing that can happen, or Instagram or TikTok or whatever new thing that I don't know about yet is. Okay, they can report it to school and also to that platform and get their account removed that way. Yes.
So for in return suspension, do you guys really believe in suspension, like suspending a student? Like a lot of students, they're gonna like enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you are punishing the parents instead of student, sending the kids home, staying home, and they're just sitting home. They're doing nothing. They're missing schoolwork, missing the school time.
Yeah. So the question was, do we?
My opinion is that students will like the suspension, but they will hate that their parents will know about their bullying others.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different things going on there with the suspension. I don't do a lot of suspending in the high school because of that reason. A lot of kids see this as a break. I don't want to be at school anyway. Thanks for sending me home, Mr. Went. Suspension really falls a lot on the parents to make this time not enjoyable, right? If a kid is suspended and they're sitting there playing video games and they're on their phone by themselves all day and eating pizza, then yeah, that's not so bad. But when they're sent home, they get their phone taken away, the internet's unplugged, and they have to sit there with a book. All of a sudden, this is not such an enjoyable time. So it really does.
So there's some parents who do that. There's doesn't do.
There is, and there's some circumstances where a suspension is needed, and you need to be out of the school. Like for violence, for sexual harassment, I don't care what happens at home. I just need you out of here. Okay.
Basically, like we go by the rubric book at our school, and we have this based on the level of the offense that the child did. And I promise you, my kids, when they used to see like the phone number or school calling, they used to be like very worried, even if it's like just a teacher like. It's because I always tell them, listen, the teacher has 32 students in class, teacher back to back. She's not gonna go and see, there's something happened for you to be like sent to the office or something that's going on. So that's why we need the help from the parents, the help from the parents showing the student that, listen, you did something wrong, let's be like, moving forward from it and think about it and whatever happened, the consequence is gonna happen, what's next? That's what I talk to my students about at the office. Like I tell them, okay, the consequence happened, now what's next? And coming back from your consequence, what's gonna happen? What's the next thing that I'm gonna see? So it's like consequence every day, but if there's no improvement, it's gonna be like kind of.
So I had my friend, she talked to me about her daughter last year. So the boy hit her and she hit him back. And then they suspended her.
Yeah.
No, they suspended her. Okay, I'm sorry. So my friend last year, she told me about her daughter. Okay, so a boy hit her. So she hit him back and then they suspended her. And they told her, you're not allowed to go into her, even though she was defending herself.
Okay, so because many situations, they're not allowed to lay hands on each other. So if
HES Academies have been serving the Detroit metro area for over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Nor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.